Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to yet another CPL 7 cast. This time we're coming at you with some Week 5 action, Attitude Plus versus Pacific Fire Tier 3. Hopefully we have some exciting games lined up for you here. It's a little bit Terran heavy, but it just seems to be the case with Tier 3, I think, this year. We're going to watch first Peru versus Random User, which is going to be Protoss versus Terran. Then we'll have Slow Play versus Character, which will be a TVT, I believe. Then we're going to have Morik versus SC2 Airs, which will be Zerg versus Protoss. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with another TVT, which is going to be Thunder Dragon versus Zeski. So, pretty Terran heavy here. And just full disclosure, I did not pick this group knowing that it was Terran heavy. I used a random number generator between the two tier 3s that didn't include my game. And it was like, and this was the one that was picked. So, this is, this is what we've got today. Not that I think there's anything wrong with a Terran heavy set, just I'm being a Terran player myself. I don't want you to think I'm biased towards casting Terran games or anything like that. Just give me just a minute here, and I will get us started here. Oh, and the map order, forgot to mention, I believe, was Polypoid first, Ascension second, and then Eclipse third if the third game is needed. And jumping into the first match here, we have random users spawning as the Red Terran up in the top right of bottom right of Polypoid. I did the thing that as players you might do sometimes, where you mix up which of the spawning points you're on, and then you place your buildings completely wrong. And then in the top left, playing under the name Zertimus in this game, we have Peru spawning as the blue Protoss. And just also full disclosure as well, I currently have some communications going on regarding a grocery delivery that I am going to be receiving later today, so I do apologize if I am slightly distracted receiving text messages about things they do not have in stock and asking if different substitutions are okay. That out of the way, getting into the game here, we have the first pylon coming down for Peru. And random user here throwing down the supply depot here. I don't know for sure if this is going to be Zealot-Tite. If you throw the barracks here, then you'll have a Zealot-Tite spacing here. Because usually the Zealot-Tite spacing on this type of spawn that I'll do is I'll put the depot here, barracks here, and then another depot here, which actually saved my butt in a game I think that was cast earlier, because I was able to squeak my Marine in there and then block the Zealots from getting in there with my SCVs, though Probe did get in there. But we do have the barracks coming down here for that Zealot tightness, and we've got the Assimilator and Gateway coming up, so probably going to see a core come down when this Gateway finishes. Maybe we'll see a Zealot pop out, but I'm thinking we won't. Looking at the minerals here, it looks like they're going to be lining up actually pretty nicely here for Peru to go ahead and throw down that Cybernetics core. And there it is. So, looks like both players scouting up to the top right position here. And as long as nobody does a cross scout after that, both players should get the second scout on each other. Random user here getting that sec going without any Marines actually here. Looks to be trying to get that factory down as fast as possible, and I like that sort of optimization to see players do. Recognizing, you know, this is a 4-player map. You know, there's a chance that I can get away with a little bit of a greedy build here, not get the initial Marines out of this barracks until I get this factory. And it looks like it is going to pay off in this case, as Peru is just going to go ahead and just start getting those Dragoons now. And here we have the scout coming into Peru's base, sees what's up, sees 2 gateways. Well, the second one morphing in. Sees no units just yet. Gonna park this here. And it should be chased out by this Dragoon. Really, Dragoon range, when the range is not upgraded, just surprises me. How far or how close that Dragoon will be. And not being able to actually fire on the enemy unit that's there. Enemies are going ahead and getting 4 Marines here, which surprised me a little bit. Maybe going for some early aggression. We are continuing to actually keep these workers on the gas, but we could have got a second factory a while ago, so floating a lot of gas right now. Gonna be able to produce a tank though, and maybe get siege mode when we have the minerals. So maybe that's the play here, trying to get that quick siege mode. But it looks like we are going out for the expansion now. Okay, and there it is. So it looks like this is just going to be like a normal siege, well, maybe not necessarily siege expand, but an expand using the power of the tanks to get us there. Peru, meanwhile, is actually just sitting at home, not bringing these Dragoons up to try and put any sort of pressure or keep tabs on the Terran player. So both players kind of playing in the dark at the moment about what the other is doing. Though they both have got some initial scouting information to have an idea of what is probably going to be going on. And yeah, I think so with random user here and with the workers on the gas, I think it's, you know, like I like to say, don't always trust at the lower levels, like little optimization things that will give builds away, because it's just easier to not take the units off the gas, right? You take the units off the gas, you've got to remember, okay, I have to take them off at a specific gas count, and then I have to put them back on at a specific spot. But now here there's no bunker, which is going to be a little bit worrisome. It's going to force these Marines back and actually force a pool of SCVs here. Random users should be able to hold this, I think, with the 2 tanks, but having to pull the SCVs is really going to cost some mining time. And these Dragoons getting a lot of free shots off on the workers, and these tanks just struggling to get down the ramp. Not quite able to do so. Siege mode is almost done, though, so I don't think this natural will fall. But losing some workers, though, down now, lower, and there's going to be nothing to block this ramp. Siege mode is done, so these tanks could siege. But they're not doing so, and now they're going to siege, but there's nothing stopping these Goots from just walking right. Oh, if Peru commits this could be some real trouble. If it just needs to walk those up, yeah, there's nothing saving those tanks. And the Dragoon's just able to get right up there and on top. Gonna fall back here and force the pull even more. But yeah, Peru just effectively shutting down this natural. But Peru behind this, only working off of 2 gateways. Not getting their natural yet, so like this push, this excursion here and this hurting and stopping of the natural is helping them out since they didn't get their own. But it looks like they're not really committing to like, I'm going to one base pressure you, or I'm going to like stop this expand while getting my own. So I'm not sure exactly what Peru is going for with the build that they're doing. I mean, they are getting a Citadel of Adun, so they may be going for some Dark Templar here. Like, okay, well, I've thrown off your natural timing on these 2 Dragoons being kind of dragged in there, unfortunately, by the shots there of those sieged tanks. But it's like, okay, so I've thrown off your natural. I've busted that, right? So now you're going to be off your game and off your timings and what you want to do. I'm going to assume you're not going to get detection. And I'm going to go DTs. I wonder if that's what that Citadel of Adun is for. Although now we're getting leg speed, so maybe not. And I like what Random User is doing here, just slowly crawling those tanks down. And here we can see a couple of shots get off before those Dragoons back off. But now this tank being very adventurous, going very far down onto the low grounds, probably going to get picked off, but I don't know if that was really worth it. The 4 goons that have been lost now to pick off that tank, when you've only got like 3 sitting there, now you've got 5, you've only got 2 gates worth of production. I don't know if that trade was really worth it, but there is a good chance I think that it will pay off in the end. These tanks being sent really far forward, I'd like to see one siege maybe like here. where you're going to have protection. Yeah, like see this one now moving all the way over here where there's no protection from these siege tanks. If you siege like here, you're going to get coverage by this, and you're going to at least trade that tank for some of those goons. And yeah, you're just not going to get anything sieged that far over. These goons taking a lot of damage. Pretty much anything that comes into this natural is going to take some shots, right? But you might be able to stand in this nook here and get some shots off freely. Now we have Random User trying to get these tanks back out in this natural here. Sorry, had to respond to a message there. And we see that Peru is going ahead getting the Templar Archives now. Did get their natural up to 3 gateways, getting that robotics facility. So would like to see them if they're going to go ahead and get like the observers, so that way they can keep tabs on what the Terran is doing. But the Terran still does not have any detection. If Peru had gone for some Dark Templars, this game could be over very, very quickly here. Now jump it up to 5 gateways. Very nice gateway count. And Random User getting this natural established, but it's so late. But the worker count is pretty even, surprisingly. They lost a good number of workers in that push. The barracks could be a bit more fluid forward, and I'm moving forward with these tanks here, trying to establish this spot. Peru's not really been sending units to that front, so Random User's gonna be able to get this bit of ground here for themselves. Now starting to throw down more factories as they are floating some minerals. Jumping up to 5 factories here. Perhaps looking to start getting that Terran army going. And Peru going real zealot heavy right now. Perhaps to try and counter those tanks. And now we do have a Dark Templar is out on the field, and there is still no detection to be seen for Random Users. So I'm pretty worried about that for the Terran player. We now have 2 out here. So we'll see what those 2 are going to do, if they're going to hang out with the army. And even if they just hang out with the army, it's going to be a bit of a problem. I know they're going to go ahead and try to come in here. There's not even an academy, not even an engineering base started. If Peru plays this right, this could be the game. But I think there is a good chance here for sorry, my brain was just blanking out there for a moment. Or Random User to be able to get that engineering bay down. We are seeing speed and mines, but mines aren't going to be done just yet as these Dark Templar arrive, and they're just going to walk past the tank army. It's hard to say if they've been noticed or not. Still no detection being started here. Dark Templar starting on the tanks, and then another one starting on the SCVs. Mines will be done soon. So I don't think these Dark Templar are going to do too much. We're getting 2 SCV kills here. Trying to focus on the gas ones. And mines are now done. But we've kind of got the attention. I think one of them got picked off by mines, but the other one in the worker line, up to 6-7 kills now. Now mines are being laid. Nice using that mine there to get that worker kill, but we're at 9 kills now, 10 kills. So yeah, look, the 20 worker difference here now for the 2 players is pretty big. And actually, that other Dark Templar is still alive. It's in the natural. 13. Oh yeah, you got to be careful because those. Okay, you're traded 3 vultures to get that Dark Templar. That's okay. You didn't lose any of the workers. That's what you got to be careful of if you're going to be doing your Dark Templar defense there with mines, is that those mines could take out your workers and really decimate, you know, like that worker count you have. Meanwhile, these players here, Storm is being researched, which can be very difficult to deal with, even if in the first fight that Storm doesn't fully kill your army. that storm, you know, the damage just sits there on those tanks, and then the next engagement, Storm's just going to wipe them out if you don't repair. We have a Stargate coming down. It looks like Peru is going ahead and getting their third. I would have liked to have seen them do that earlier, since this natural has been established, and now that Dark Templars have shown up, you know, getting that academy, getting those ComSat scanners, and moving forward with the army, gonna pressure here. And Peru doesn't know this is coming. They got the observatory, but I don't think they've got any observers out on the field. And now their army is gonna run into the Terran vultures here. That mine gonna do some damage to the vultures. But where's the... Oh no, the main bulk of tanks were behind, so the Terran army just wasn't together here. Oh! That mine, though, taking out the 4 Dragoons. Wow. That is going to hurt Peru a lot. Peru had a chance to bust that here, but they've got a lot of Dragoons sitting back at the natural that could be pulled forward to engage with this force, but just is not doing so at the moment. They can't let the Terrans set up outside the choker. That's going to be really hard for them to get out of. Here we do have the Dragoons going ahead and moving out, catching the tanks off guard again. The tanks sieging on top of a mine. Oh, this mine could score some juicy damage, but the Oh, 3 Dragoons go down from that mine. I was like, oh, but the Dragoons stopped out of range. They'll get it. But when you do that move command instead of attack command, oh, that gives the chance for those mines to do some damage. So Terran's army... Oh, really good right now. Looking to maybe take a third. It looks like here. Pulling these vultures back that were coming out to reinforce that unfortunately found the army destroyed. Looks like Peru's rally points not set at the moment. So the army's just kind of accumulating in the main. Well, this SCV is in position to take a third, but it has not been started just yet. Seeing, looks like maybe some mines being laid to watch that avenue of attack for the Protoss, and Protoss going ahead and taking this third. It would be a good idea to see, you know, some pylon walls get set up here to prevent vultures from running in, but instead we're just going with getting the base established here, simulator set up. And the worker count difference is huge. We've got 55 for Peru to 30 for random user. Actually, it looks like we're not taking the third, the mineral only here. Looks like these SCVs are just part of the army for now. This barracks floating up here, finding where the Protoss army is. It's gonna get sniped off, but it's done its job of scouting. And now some turrets being set up way over here, perhaps looking to expand, kind of more like a Zerg player over here to the left, but it's leaving the main and the natural pretty exposed. Doing so, we're just pushing forward here. These tanks are, you don't really ever want to move forward with your tanks first. Typically you're going to want, yeah, your vultures first, but these tanks are, oh, this is very, very dangerous here for random user with this movement with the tanks in front, just bypassing the Dragoons here. Interesting choice. Arbiters are out in play now, and I don't think we don't have a starport yet. And actually, random user still at 0-0, not getting the upgrades either. And Peru really isn't either, but from my understanding, the upgrades are a little less important for Protoss than for Terran, especially if the Terran's not getting any upgrades of their own. So I'm more surprised to see no upgrades coming out of random user here. And random user, I think, trying to get these Dragoons to the south to engage. Would have loved to see some mines get laid here. And now I think Peru kind of is aware of this force that's just kind of sitting in between these, and now we do have the Arbiter coming in. It's going to take some shots from this turret. Need to pull it back so that it doesn't get picked off by the turret. And yeah, if these Dragoons moved in, they could get the tanks, but The army not quite able to move. Oh, there we go. Now they're moving in and they're sniping off the tanks here. Very good play here by Peru. I would have liked to have seen these Dragoons pounce in a bit sooner. But yeah, should be able to clean this up. And with that, the Terran push is going to be stopped there. But it looks like Terran's going to try and move some more units out here again. Yeah, Terran not trying to take any additional bases at the moment. Yeah, Protoss needs to just pull back here because you're not going to be able to really push up that high ground. But the supply difference, too, is very large, almost 100. Which is typically not a situation you want to be in as a Terran player in TVP. And I don't know if that Dragoon was scouting or what that Dragoon's purpose in life was, but it is now blue goop. And we have another Dark Templar coming out here. Looks like this is either going to try and find a way to be sneaky into the Terran base or... Oh, trying to take out this missile turret here. Trying to get rid of that detection to sneak this Dark Templar in, I think. But there's also mines and such that have been laid out, so... Not sure how effective that will be. Oh, did Peru? Oh, okay. So these, unfortunately, for Peru, with the Dragoons, these back gateways here on the left are kind of struggling to get out because the pylon wall has stretched all the way down to the bottom here, so they actually have to go up and around the gas. And then there's one Dragoon that has parked itself on the ramp and is blocking it, so anything in the main won't be able to get out. Here we have the Terran actually advancing here with the tanks, but again, there's no vultures to protect the tank. Oh, there's the vultures to protect the tanks. A little bit ahead of the army, though. And now these tanks are... You know, I just realized we saw Storm get researched, but I don't think we've actually seen any Dark Templar. And okay-ish Stasis could have got, I think, all of these tanks if they had... targeted right, but I'm not sure exactly where that stasis targeted to grab just those 3 units. And now we have the army of Peru coming in here. And it should be able to clean this up. Again, just the supply difference, just too great. And with that, random user is going to go ahead and calls the GG, realizes they can't push into this Protoss force here, given the first game to Peru of Attitude Plus. Let's go ahead and get the second game loaded up here, which will be on Ascension. Forgot that enter does not actually start the game. I have to click it, or I think it's Alt-O. But here we are getting into game 2 between Peru and random user. It looks like... Okay, no, yeah, this is in top first bottom. My shift tab was undoing the top first bottom coloration. So we have random users spawning as the red Terran up at the 12 o'clock base. And Peru spawning as the blue Protoss down in the bottom left. So last game, we saw Peru going with the 1 base pressure with the Dragoons on random user, and random user not foregoing the bunker. And having a little bit of difficulty. I think those tanks just were not coming down the ramp So the defense of the natural was a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? It was for when something's not coordinated. Discoordinated? Miscoordinated? Not sure exactly the word I'm looking for, but essentially it was not as coordinated an effort as it could have been between the units for random user. And looks like we do have an in-base pylon, so probably not going to see any proxies from Peru. And really after winning that first game, you know, you could mix things up to try and throw off your opponent in a best of 3. But at the same time, too, it's like, well, what I did worked in game 1. You know, I played a macro game against the Terran and I beat them. So why not play a macro game against the Terran again? Now the gas being started for Terran here. It looks like the scout from Peru is out and going to that sort of 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock-ish base. And the scout coming out now for random user. We'll see which direction it's looking to go. Looks like it's going to go towards Peru, so random user will get that first scout off. We'll see if random user goes for that quick... Okay, excuse me, sorry, something in my throat. Looks like we are getting our Marine this game before the factory. Being a 3-player map, perhaps that is the cause of the change. But we are going to get the scout off. We're going to see the cybernetics core just finished off. There was no zealot on the way to our base. And the probe from the Protoss just arriving now. That Marine taking a long time to decide to actually fire on the probe. But the factory is underway. Tucked in a pretty far down place. Maybe just, you know, the start of the... where the macro area is going to be for the player. Have the Dragoon production being started up here. Goon range on the way. CV here chilling outside. And it looks like this time there were workers pulled off the gas for random user, so we will most likely see that sort of fast expand, but some money being thrown down into a depot and a machine shop. I feel like that's delaying this natural a bit here. You've just seen the one Dragoon. You know it's sitting at home. You could safely throw down at 400 your command center, and then on your next 100 throw down your bunker pretty quickly here. It's like we've got 4 Marines. We've got a tank start. Yeah, like this. That command center could have been started a lot earlier, but in the end, the players will get to where they are wanting to go. I will be worried again, though, if there's no bunker placed here. And I've got to sneeze. Sorry about that. I'm back from that sneeze. And okay, great. We are getting a bunker this time. So that will get loaded up. And with that, as long as the proper number of SCVs are pulled for repair on the bunker, it should be all right. Looks like siege mode has not been started yet. But we are getting constant tank production, so... And now we have the siege mode and another tank being lined up here, but there are these 4 Dragoons here and only 2 SCVs to repair. This bunker is going to fall if more SCVs aren't pulled immediately. 1 Dragoon does... Oh no, and now that the bunker has fallen, there should be enough, though, to repel just these 3 Dragoons. Now, Artemis... It's Zertimus. Self. It's the name there, but Brew floating a lot of money, too. With this type of aggression, like, I mean, I guess the point isn't necessarily to bust into the Terran here. Oh, we do see a third gateway coming down now for Protoss. Protoss for some... Oh, this tank coming really far out here. I feel like these 3 Dragoons could have taken it out if they had all worked together, but that is a really tight choke. Oh, so that's what's happening, is that one Dragoon stopping right in range and then blocking the other. So that could be a problem with this path. Probably would have been better to use this area over here as an approach and escape vector. But now the natural coming down for Protoss behind the natural of the Terran player. So random users looking ahead right now. If they can keep themselves from making any unforced errors here, they're in a very good position. Like in the repair on the tank as well. Here we've got a 4th gate, we've got Templar Archives, so it looks like we might see... I don't see a Robo coming down, so I'm thinking we might see some Dark Templar play here pretty quickly from random user, and depending on if it can get here before the mines are ready, we're going to see some Dark Templar play for Peru, and if it can get here before mines are ready, and there's no other detection being set up, that could be a problem. Okay, we do have the engineering bay coming down for random users, so I think that will give enough time, especially the Dark Templar aren't started yet. There's a round of Dragoons that were just freshly queued up. Which will delay up, and as I say that, 2 of them get canceled for a couple of Dark Templars here, so I think that there will be enough time to get a couple of turrets up. One to protect this choke, one to protect this command center here. Looks like Terran unsieging, maybe looking to move out. Not sure exactly what that unsiege was for. Or maybe they had meant to siege? Could be to protect against Dark Templar, potentially. Since, you know, Dark Templar on top of a tank is not... The tank's not going to be able to defend itself, and then any other siege tanks in the area would be doing splash damage to your tank, but that is a little bit risky in a way because, you know, random user is playing pretty blind at the moment, doesn't know what Peru is doing exactly. There could be a mass of Dragoons coming in. Actually, it looks like the army moving out a little bit more away from detection, so maybe random user looking to move out, take their 3rd, or maybe just looking to get ready to push, but the Dark Templar are going to sneak in. There's like almost nothing there. Okay, instead going after the tanks as they see them pushing out, and they're running away from the detection. Like, you got the turrets just in case of no-no, and there's a couple of Dragoons here going to catch these tanks and be able to cut the tank count a little bit here. And sieging up with the Dark Templar. Not what you want to do. See, a lot of tanks being lost there for random user. To these Dark Templar. Let's see, 2 each, so 4 tanks, and then a 5th tank to the splash damage. Oh, that's going to be some damage there. So, just unfortunately timed move out there for the Terran player. Again, just really playing the Dark. Does have the Academy now, though, so can get the Comsat stations to keep tabs on the Protoss player, but it looks like random user really wants to do this sort of like two push, no upgrades sort of thing, but we'll see if they're able to get it to work this time. They're going to have to sort of push through the small choke or go around the long way too, so we'll see how they choose to approach this. They really need to get these Comsats out though, because if Peru were to mix in some more Dark Templar, and the tanks going out ahead of the Vultures again, and these Dragoons don't see the army don't see the Dragoons. We do have speed and mines. Mine's just about to finish up here. This army being allowed to get in a pretty decent position here for the Terran player. Random user might be able to do something with this push, but these Dragoons just slightly out of position does not... But they don't see this. There are a couple of scans going down there for random user, checking that natural to see what's there. I think it just missed the army. Random user kind of trying to take it slow here. Don't want to... doesn't want to push into the Protoss army a little too soon, going ahead and throwing down some missile turrets. As right now they use those scans to scout, which means that they don't have any scans available should there be Dark Templar. Here we have two mines actually being laid directly on top of each other, so those might glitch out a little bit when they pop up to try and make an attack. There we go, the nice little magic box mine laying, getting a nice little field there. We'll see now, it looks like there is a Dark Templar coming out here. Gonna see the vultures, see the mines there. But one manages to get away, because again, the detection just wasn't quite there for random user. So we'll see what that Dark Templar decides to do. And now Peru is aware of this force that's growing here. Going to engage, but doesn't really have enough to engage with this block of tanks, and going to be forced to back off. So now we have random user going ahead and looking to reinforce this, tearing down a bunker actually, because they still have the Marines here, so could load that up, stopping the Protoss from engaging. But the Protoss force Arbiter's almost done, so trying to move forward with these vultures here in this army, but the one tank able to be taken out there, and now the Arbiter is going to reveal itself. Does the random user see it? Not quite. Nothing is getting cloaked quite yet in its view as well. These Dragoons being very brave here, coming down to face this Protoss army, and now the Arbiter is revealed. It doesn't have any energy to cast anything just yet, though. And I don't see anything actively being researched, so I'm not sure if Stasis has been researched yet or not, but there's no anti-air here. Except for this turret pretty far back, in the army here for random user is just pretty far forward. These tanks having to fire uphill against these Dragoons. Zealots now getting on top of the Terran army. We really need to see some reinforcements like pouring in here for random user, or they might be in some trouble. Got about 6 gateways of production, I think it is, for Peru, but Peru could also be producing right now out of those gateways. They had nothing there for a moment, and now we see the Dragoon count climbing. But could also be getting like another Arbiter. They've got the minerals and the gas for it. We do have a 7th gateway coming down here for Peru, who is on 3 bases, but the 3rd base not actively mining at the moment. And there we do have a stasis going down. So stasis is researched. And with that, Peru is trying to move out with the small Dragoon force here, which I think is going to get shut down here by random user, so... But there's only one sieged tank at the moment. Another round of Dragoons coming out here. Actually, that stasis tank is like just a tickle away from death. Ooh, that bunker actually paying off there for random user, trying to get on top of the tanks. Some of those mines popping up as well. Now we do have a few more tanks and vultures here for reinforcements, but really that's like one of the hard things with Terran is when you lose those tanks, they take forever to replace, because you're like maybe on 2 or 3 factories with machine shops, and so like you can only pop out 2 at a time. And actually both tanks are queued in just the one factory, so just one tank coming out at a time right now for random user. Again, random user not taking their 3rd, just sitting on the 2 bases. You know, the Protoss really can't do anything if they cleared out these 2 Dragoons and just took that base. Peru wouldn't be able to stop it. But instead, Peru and Random User are just going to continue to trade units here at this in small numbers at this engagement point. It looks like another round of Dragoons is ready. Maybe waiting for a second round as well. Looks like that tank queuing issue has been fixed up here for Random User. Gonna go ahead and throw down a command center now. So maybe looking to take that third, float that command center over somewhere. Oh, this Arbiter needs to be careful. It's floating into range of the bunker. It has the energy for a stasis. You don't want to lose it. And does pull it back in time, so good move there by Peru. And now we have, it looks like Random User looking to maybe try and gain some ground, but gonna run into the Protoss army up here. Forced to pull back. That Dark Templar getting a little bit dangerously close there. Yeah, I think Peru recognizing, okay, this choke is not the way to go. I'm gonna need to come up this high ground here, but these vultures finding there's nothing here at all to defend. So there is a Arbiter here that can at least cloak and protect the probes, though, while a few more units come out, and then the army that was at the main or inside the main is going to come out and clean that up. So not really a lot of damage able to be done by those vultures, but sort of shows, you know, that this path was left available to the Terran army. Now with all of those units pulled back, it looks like gonna try and play some more forward bunker, but without bunker support, these Marines are gonna get picked off here. And yeah, there's no detection here, so this Dark Templar is free to just go ahead and get those few Marines that were there. And the scan's gonna... If the Vulture's killing their own bunker, instead of canceling, they just destroy it. Probably a little bit of a misclick here, and now we've got some tanks sort of inching into a tight space here. Perhaps a bit too much being pulled back by Peru here from that high ground, sort of giving that high ground away. And, oh, nice mine there. Just the one mine got off really good there. But now the Terran army on top of its own tanks taking a lot of damage from the... or on top of their own mines, just... oh. The splash damage from Terran working against them there. Just very, very unfortunate to see. That's one thing you have to be careful. If you've mined up a spot and then you're going to move your army over it, you need to clear those mines before you siege on top of them, because they will wipe out your own army. There was an attempt here at the third to try and sneak in some vultures, but they do get cleaned up. There was another stasis that actually captured this observer, but the observer should be alright once that stasis wears off. The main for Peru, though, is mined out, so... this is still looking pretty good in Protoss, or in Terran's favor, though, with Random User getting that third base up here. Peru not quite able to break this Terran push like they were in the game on Polypoid. This tank can fall to the Arbiter. Terran can't quite get their push up into a position to actually move into the Protoss base, though. Now we do have some Goliaths, and unfortunately this Arbiter with the energy for 2 stasis is going to go down here. I'm not sure if Protoss is going to have what they need to break this here. But the Terran army kind of overextending itself a little bit here. Scan going down, but there's just the 3 tanks and nothing guarding them. Could get this third, just like 2 shots. Yeah, there we go. And now there's just the 1 tank here. And unfortunately for the Terran player, the machine shop factories were producing Goliaths, and now they're just producing Vultures, so there's going to be no tanks coming out for a bit for random user. And we're also getting High Templar now into the mix, so this might be the moment. Oh, and those mines actually doing a ton of damage to the Vultures. This might be the break that Peru needs to actually turn this around and break through what the Terran player here is trying to set up. They're just flooding a lot of Vultures again, and now they're going Goliaths. They're going to have no tanks. Where are the tanks? Peru is seeing like the army that's up here could just flood in with their zealots here, I think, and clean this up. Needs to be careful though that this Arbiter doesn't get caught by these Goliath. Now the Goliath is trying to move in here to do some damage, and again there's still no upgrades from random user, no upgrades from Peru. Peru producing a ton of zealots. Like, even though the Protoss is producing so many zealots, like as Terran, you need tanks. Now we do see that the tank production is starting back up, but there's only been like one tank on the field for a long time, and these two Dragoons actually stopping this expansion from going down, this fourth base for the Terran, and Terran's not doing anything about it. Now we do have some zealots moving in here to defend this like 7 o'clock base. And no micro on the Vultures is going to let the Zealots kind of clean it up. And oh no, the mines on top of the Vultures, just they're all disintegrated. Oh man, what was looking like a great position for random user is sort of balancing out to be a potentially great position here for Peru, but Peru's not really capitalizing on it all that much. Like, this position is essentially broken. There's like nothing here. Peru moves out with this right now. They can just clean this up and get back into the Terran's face. These Dragoons did get cleaned up finally, but there is no movement on that. And then randomies are trying to push the issue with a really small force here. I don't know if this is going to be able to do much though. The tank not sieging up, going ahead and getting picked off by the Dragoons, and now these couple Vultures here. And random user giving the GG again. Let's see, there was a Dark Templar blocking this, but maybe tapping out a bit early. You've got this base, you've got this space here. There is an Arbiter. I don't think that, yeah, that's 151 energy. It's not doing a recall, but maybe they were worried. They saw this flew over. They knew a recall was going to come that they couldn't stop. But there's a couple turrets. I don't know. I feel like that was a pretty early GG. I mean, it felt like game one was a little bit early too. But I get, like, you know, your push just failed and broke on game one, so I can see that GG. But this second GG, it's like... I mean, yeah, I think the Protoss was in the good position if they, like, moved out with this army, but... I don't know, it just seems like an odd place to GG. But with that, Peru will take the series 2-0. And we'll be moving into our second matchup of today, which is going to be a Terran versus Terran. We're going to be watching slow play versus character. So let's go ahead and get that loaded up here. Alright, and this game was not played in top versus bottom, so we will get the player colors that they used. We've got characters spawning as the yellow Terran down in the bottom right. Again, I'm thinking this is the top right base for some reason. It's character, and in the teal Terran down in the bottom left, we've got slow play. It's a nice little in-game good luck, have fun between the two players. We'll see what kind of style these two like to take for Terran versus Terran, because you can get, you know, just sort of safe play, like I just want to stay alive and I'm planning this whole game on splitting bases with you and everything, or you can get some aggression early on, where it's like, I'm going to keep you to your 2 bases, your main and your natural, and I'm going to take the map, and that's how this game is going to go. Or you can kind of get early aggression that like just tries to win, but typically I feel like that last option is usually the worst. See, here we do get supply depots coming down for the 2 players. So kind of like most any mirror matchup here, we're going to be seeing where do these 2 players deviate in what the other, or from what the other is doing, and in what ways will they be deviating in this early game. And throw that D&D on there. I've noticed that's been happening when people go D&D. It sets you to D&D, sets you online, and then sets you back to D&D. Kind of weird. Yep, so we've got in-base Raxes for both players here. Refinery started for both players. Character getting their gas a little bit faster. And now the scout coming out here for slow play. Looks like it's going in the wrong direction though, so if they don't do a cross scout, slow play will be getting that last scout. And based on the direction of characters, if I could right click, there we go. Characters SCV, they will be getting that first scout on slow play. That scouting information so critical in TVT to see what your opponent is doing, what kind of corners can you cut, what can you get away with. And actually, so it looks like slow play is keeping the guys on gas, but again, on tier 3 play, I don't always trust that as an indication of what the player is going to do. We do see the first factory coming down. The first factory is down for character as well, also keeping SCVs in the gas, so there's the possibility we see some 2 factory play out of both of these players. So SCV gonna try and get back in here again. Almost able to get past the Marines there, but not quite able to do so. I don't see a second factory down yet, but both players really spending their money. 3 Marines for slow play. Character stopping just at the 2, and it looks like we will be seeing a 2 factory out of character. I'm thinking as soon as we have the minerals for it, I'm gonna have to place it up above instead of below because of that SCV positioning. And where the SCV is gonna get in, did they do see the 2 factories, so slow play knows they're up against a 2 factory here. They're going ahead and getting the add-on. They've moved their Marines down. It looks like slow play did take workers off of gas at some point there, so I think slow play looking to do a factory expand here, which you can do that, but this feels like just a little slow to me. You can defend against a 2 factory with just 1 factory. And where did that money go? Getting siege mode and a tank before throwing down the command center, so that's really going to delay that natural. And it looks like character's going for 3 factory vulture play here. Getting the second machine shop too, so you can get speed and mines at the same time. Speed starting up. That is the longer of the 2 upgrades. But really, the tanks should shut this down. Unless character gets some really good mines off. Which is totally within the realm of possibility here. They're getting those factories, making those vultures. Eric's coming in here to check out what's going on. And slow play continuing to make Marines. I'm wondering if slow play is going to go for some sort of aggressive move out here once they hit like a certain number of tanks or something. So they got siege mode. They're continuing Marine production. Like, the only thing I can think of with that Marine production is that you're going to want to move out. But the Vultures, 4 character, are coming in now. Mine's almost finished, but not quite. Sees the 2 tanks. Gonna try and pick off some of these Marines, but mine's just finishing now. Trying to get those mines to lay. But yeah, with a couple of Marines that are there, so slow play gonna be able to repel this. And I guess that overproduction of Marines in the end pays off for slow play there, but continuing to produce tanks here now. Really, character at this point, I would like to see a transition away from the Vultures, because at this point now you see your opponent, okay, they have their natural, they have tanks. Gonna try and poke in here again, though, with these Vultures, really trying to push the issue, get these mines to do some work. If you do get a... There's nothing targeting the mines, there's nothing targeting the mines. Forcing those tanks to pull back there now. Yeah, this is why you would want to be getting Vultures. Ooh, that tank took a little bit of damage from that. Instead of Marine, but throwing down a second barracks now. Along with a factory. I'm not sure exactly what that is here from slow play. Has siege mode, but has not sieged anything up. Would like to see like a tank on the high ground here where the Vultures aren't going to be able to get to it. And try and take it out with mines. But really, character now can transition into a bit more normal play. Only has the 2 mines down here. I think he could throw a few more down and just sort of mine up around the map, check all the lanes for the future as well, to make sure that, you know, slow play is not going to try and do anything. Slow play just getting that tank count up. The Vultures trying to get in here again, and they do get past the defenses at the natural, so the natural not really being defended well, forcing the evacuation of the workers. There's even a mine there, I think, that caught some workers. So nice little run by there, mining up the base of slow play as well. Slow play has to be very careful here that these tanks don't get caught by any of the mines. Able to clean it up, but character just, you know, delaying that mining time, putting some pressure on their opponent here. And really, still nothing up on the high ground, like siege mode not being used. Here, the natural for character is coming up, so we are seeing that transition I was talking about. We're getting tank production now again for character, but character could really work on getting a good contain set up here if they wanted to. They've got some mines in front here. You know, they've got this high ground that they could claim and really just put pressure on slow play to have to try and move out of these 2 bases. So we'll see if that's what character wants to do. And it looks like that might be it. Moving out with some forces here. There's at least one of the 2 tanks that were finished here. Along with some Vultures, just throwing out some mines to check for any dropship play that might happen. 1 lone tank coming out here. And again, the Marine production just continuing here for slow play. This tank may be a little bit forward here, not on the high ground. So play, you can barely see that tank. And to sort of set up a using tanks to bodyguard, it looks like, and now sieging up. And gotta move out. So character not really positioning the army there, so slow play gonna be able to move out, but does have to be careful with these mines that are out here. That was almost the end of those Marines' lives. Oh, that mine! Dealing a ton of damage there. I guess that's one thing if you're going for Marines instead of Vultures. Like, Marines can trigger mines, Vultures can't. So if your Marine army is ahead of your tank army, then, you know, you'll clear out mines that way, I suppose. And I like this character is throwing down the mines in various different spots, just trying to get that vision. A little bit of splash damage there, but the mine's able to be cleaned up, and now a very, very strong force here for slow play. Moving across the map, but character has a pretty good defensive front here. And there's mines along the way. Oh, there's still the mine in the base. I think it's stopping this SCV from... Oh, okay, they were able to defuse that mine. Stopping that SCV from building their supply depot there. We have a couple of tanks here. It's like character moving some units out into the middle of the map. I'm not sure exactly what they're looking to do. And now we have slow play moving out here. Hoping these units are on attack move, because I think there's enough, like Marines, there's enough DPS that they should be able to deal with mines that pop up. We could see some really juicy mines go off here. Fifth factory now coming down for character. Slow play still just on the 2 factories with the 2 barracks. Moving across the map. The tanks are very forward though. Ooh, this could be dangerous here. Trying to move up onto that high ground though, which is actually bypassing the mines. Able to get set up. If they siege, this could be a problem for character here. And now they are sieging up in a nice arc here. The Marines and the tanks continuing to march forward. Very nice how they're just slowly sieging tanks. SCVs being forced to be pulled here. Just not enough. Character has some tanks that are just up here in the middle sieged. And now slow play moving these tanks from the back forward. Very nice control here by slow play of the army. Not just down to 4 tanks. Needs to pull in these reinforcements. The natural being forced to be abandoned here. Vultures being made, and now the reinforcements coming across the map. A few SCVs, perhaps to do repairs or to try and build things. The command center being used now as a spotter since there's no anti-air there at the moment. Character perhaps getting ready to try and move down and break those tanks, but reinforcements I think can get there in time. That's one thing. Marines are kind of slow. If you're doing Vultures instead of Marines, that tank range is flipping ridiculous. How can you shoot from there to there? That's just silly. There's no floating buildings though for slow play, so not going to be able to see up on the high ground. But yeah, that tank is gonna fall too after it takes that out, and yeah. Now setting up the forward bunker. It's gonna force that command center to pull back and not spot as far as it was. This natural is just not in operation anymore. Slow play putting up in a very strong position here, getting this contained. What looked like it was going to be good, and these 3 tanks here still just out here for character. And slow play throwing a few units up here on the high ground. Now pulling them down, just making sure that there wasn't a base up there. Pushing that command center back a bit with those Marines. Gonna try and move down and get an arc here as these Vultures try and come down, but trying to lay mines, but there's way too many tanks here for slow play. You know, I was thinking this Marine tank play was a little bit unorthodox, but it's really working out here for slow play. They're trying to move forward a bit, try and push these units back, but oh, it's gonna pull some of them into the fire as they're trying to go and attack what was attacking them. So able to whittle down the forces a little bit there, and we see a scan coming down from slow play now with the comsat stations, but Realistically, this is a very nice contain here. Starport coming down for character, realizes that there's, well, I was gonna say there's no anti-air, but there are the Marines, but there are a lot of tanks down to the south exposed. And Slowplay not expanding behind this or anything. They have the money for it. And I like that they are throwing down some turrets here in the main, just sort of as some defense, but there's still some gaps here now. 4 factories, all with machine shops, so gonna be able to really pump those tanks out. Now character trying to do something with these tanks right as the reinforcements for Slowplay leave the natural, but there are still going to be like a couple of tanks here that should, yeah, they're going to siege up first and force these tanks back. So character may be wondering how those tanks got out. These forces actually going out on a hunting mission here. Now character trying to do something, get something in here, and actually sees a dropship from Slowplay, so knows that a dropship might be in play. It's like when Protoss does Zealot bombs. I thought we were going to get some Marine bombs in there. Looks like character is going to try and push out into this. We'll see how this does. Can they... Oh, they're going to just siege up on the high ground where they can reach these tanks, but... There is now at least a spotter of sorts. Nothing coming out of this starport just yet. Character very low on money. Needs to get this natural established. It's like they might be able to clear this out. Slowly from the high ground. And able to escape because as they move out, the tanks for character move down. And now we do have more reinforcements coming out. We actually have a medic, but there's no Marines at the moment. Character actually getting supply blocked at the moment. I'm not sure what got destroyed that caused the supply block. Yeah, nice contain still being set up here by Slowplay. Character pushing into it here. I don't think they're going to be able to break this, though. Some of the tanks firing on the SCV. Character really needed those tanks to fire on the tanks of Slowplay. He has the 58 minerals. Can't produce any more units, really. Letting that command center take a lot of damage. And now reinforcements from Slowplay from up north and from the natural coming in here. Slowplay loading up a couple of tanks into a dropship. I don't think this is going to do too much, but... Character just has no money, can't produce anything, so every unit that they lose, it just brings us closer to the game. The command center starting to burn down now, only 8 minerals left. And with that, character is going to call the GG, so very well played there by Slowplay to break out of the contain that was sort of starting to get set up for character and getting a contain of their own going on. So Slowplay going up 1-0 against character, and we're going to get our game 2 on Ascension here. And again, I'm hitting enter to start the thing when enter does not start the thing. Alright, we've got Slowplay spawning as the Teal Terran up in the 12 o'clock position of Ascension and down in like about the 7 o'clock-ish or so position. Actually, I guess it's somewhere like 8. We've got characters spawning as the Yellow Terran. So it looks like these two players like to pick their color. Don't like to play in top versus bottom. Just take it, you know, having some fun there. So... last game we saw character go with the 3 factory vultures. Did get a nice run by. But really, the tank first play by slow play pretty much shut that down. Character really couldn't get a good mine off on the tanks to really cut them down quickly and easily. And slow play going with a bit of an unorthodox, I would say, build there with the Marines and tanks. Sorry about that. But really doing a good job with it and making it work, so we'll see what these two players have in mind for game 2 here. Like, we are getting a couple in-base barracks, though. Interestingly placed barracks here for character. Up against the eggs there. I don't know if that is meant to be blocking, like, or just make a really, really narrow choke here to sort of deny any scouting, maybe? Because, yeah, I think this SCV can still get... Yeah, units can still get out. But it really forces them to go along that path there, so maybe that's why that's as forwardly placed as it is. Got the gases finishing up for both players. Slow play getting theirs just a little bit faster. But we're seeing similar production cues from the two players here. The SCV4 character is out about to scout slow play. Slow play has not sent a scout out just yet. Looks like they are doing so now, though. And the two scouts will meet. Character will get the first scout off. But wait, did they see? I don't think they saw that slow play was there. Did they? They had to have. I don't think they did. And now they're like, wait, I should double check that. I didn't actually see enough to know. Now sees the Marine and should know. Okay, yeah, now sees the refinery. Okay, so glad they went back and double checked, because that could have been a problem if they just assumed, oh, that was probably their scout. And actually, that SCV can go this way too, so I don't know why. I mean, maybe vultures would be easier to block, but looks like we are seeing 2 factories coming down for character again, so maybe we'll see that 3 factory vulture play come out again for character. Character's really going to need those mines to do some damage here. Factory coming down for slow play feels a bit late. With character already having 1 finished and getting that machine shop here. The natural is going to be coming up online faster for slow play. Now this SCV trying to get back in here to scout again. She's going to be just past that Marine from character. But will be intercepted at the gates. Does see, though, that there is no natural up, so has to suspect that early aggression again. Go ahead and getting their machine shop. Siege mode actually being started here for characters, so... And tanks, so we're not going with the 3 factory vulture play this time. Looks like we're actually going to go for 2 factory tanks. I'm waiting to see the tanks and vultures coming out here. And now the second machine shop here, starting that vulture speed, so that those reinforcements can get there quicker. And slow play is getting siege mode of their own. Their first tank not quite popped out yet. See how well the Marines and the tanks can deal with these vultures, because vultures, I think they deal the full 20 damage to Marines, so it's just 2 shots to pop 1. Now character's going to go ahead and start to move out with these 2 tanks, 3 Marines, and 1 vulture. There's the second one here, but it's not quite on the move yet. So the angle of attack that character decides to take as well. It looks like they are going to go through the very narrow choke, which could potentially be an issue for them here. And they're going to encounter the sieged up tank. And the forces in that Vulture. Don't know if that run by attempt there was intentional or not. This Vulture is freaking out, losing his mind because he couldn't get to where he wanted to go. Yeah, character recognizing they're not really going to be able to push into that natural. Looks like they're going to go ahead and set up shop over here on the left. Get a few mines down, but yeah, that can be tricky when that Vulture just pops onto the low ground. It's going to get picked off there by the tank. And now character transitioning a bit more quickly into getting their natural and looking to maybe just keep a contain here. These Vulture reinforcements coming along. And also the floating barracks here for character. Gonna go ahead and keep an eye on this avenue, as well as just this space in general. And that's one thing with this Marine tank play that slow play is going for. You don't get to use your barracks as sort of like a floating building, nor do you get to use your engineering bay, actually, as the engineering bay is getting upgrades. I didn't pay attention to that in the first game, if those Marines were being upgraded or not, but character, that tank is on a mine. That's pretty dangerous. Okay, going ahead and pulling back. That's still a bit dangerously close, but there aren't really any units from character that can really get up on top of a tank. So yeah, that tank does get cleaned up, but was able to clear out a few of the units from slow play. Slow play going ahead, pulling that tank back just a little bit. Getting their comsat stations here. I like this. Mines on this path to make sure that no ground units sort of sneak out there. But character doesn't know what's going on in the main. Is a starport. It looks like a science facility is getting started here, so I'm wondering what that science facility is going to be used for. It can't be used for upgrades just yet, since the oh, and I just realized I've had the replay progress up this whole time. Sorry about that. Jeez, I wasn't even looking in that corner. I didn't even see it. Because I know the overlay that I'm using right now doesn't cover that up. So, sorry about that. But I just find it hilarious that I didn't even see it myself until just now. I looked in that corner. I was like, oh, it's there. But yeah, so character is getting a really nice contain here. They are a bit open though. Dropship play. You know, this is pretty free for slow play to come out if that's what they want to do. And I do see in their base they have one starport. They're getting Wraith though. I've got the science facility. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe so they could get that armor 2 for Marines once that armor 1 finishes. Now our Wraith is out for slow play, but gonna run into at least one turret there, but there's no other anti-air. There's no Goliaths out. I don't think this character does not have a comsat yet, so no way to scan into the enemy base. And now character gonna try and move out here. The tanks are actually out of range of the tanks of character. Character trying to get the tanks a bit more. Ooh, that was a lot of tanks cleared up there. By actually this tank, this Master Sergeant getting 5 kills. This Wraith putting in a bit of work, but an armory now coming down for characters so they can go ahead and start getting those Goliaths. But yeah, that armory, actually character's going to be behind on the upgrade play here. Now character trying to get a bit closer to that turret. And the paper plane being shot down. Nothing else being produced out of the starport. Slowplay did get the control tower though, so could get dropships, could get something related to that science facility, though you really don't want to try two base battle cruisers. And now the tanks on the low ground for Slowplay slowly being cleaned up here. Getting a third factory with machine shop now for tanks. I think Slowplay is going to need spending a lot of their gas. They're down. They only have the 2 gases, obviously, because they're on the 2 bases. Yeah, 3 factories plus a starport, all producing gas-heavy units. It's going to be very hard for Slowplay to build up a significant force. But go ahead and get a medic, so that the Marines, at least in between battles, can be healed. Characters throwing down a second eBay here. Is it there? They had to have an eBay earlier. Did it get picked off? I know it's floating over, so they're getting us the second one here to be able to have vision. I am a little bit worried though, because again, you know, like this is here, this starport. Cloak was actually being researched. Character could pull off a big dropship play, but it doesn't look like they're going for it. And I don't think... Yeah, still no comsats from character. Character has no idea what's going on in the main of Slowplay. Positioning a bit forward again with these tanks. The Marines stemming to get on top of the tanks here. A few of the tanks going down to splash damage, but just... Marines just not able to do enough damage to these tanks, really forcing Slowplay back inch by inch here into this natural. Some scans going off for Slowplay, going to be able to get the first volleys off here. A character still in the very strong position here to tie this series up. And with that, Slowplay is going to call GG and give the win to Character. Character tying the series up 1-1 there on the Ascension. With that tank first play being able to get that contain on Slowplay, and Slowplay just not able to break out with the Marine tanks. And we'll get our first game 3 of the day, which will be on Eclipse. Alright, and we've got Slowplay spawning in the top right as the teal Terran. Character spawning as the yellow Terran down in the bottom left, and it looks like 2 of the SCVs not mining. Character not noticing this, it looks like. Just now catching it. So a little bit of a misclick there. Bit unfortunate, gonna slow down the start for Character a little. So Eclipse can be a really fun TVT map in my opinion, because you've really got like this, I mean the map is obviously visually split too, along like the middle, but then you've got this double gas base to also fight for. So if you get like this nice split here where say teal takes these bases and this, and then yellow, you know, they take their set of bases, and then you've got the 2 fighting over this double gas. Like, you can get some really fun TVTs, I think, on this map. As we can see, character with those two SCVs, not minding. Actually, wait, no, there is a depot. It's behind. I thought the depot was late, but it is actually behind the mineral line here for character. If we go to the normal zoom, we are more able to see that. So I'm wondering if character's again going to go for that early aggressive build. Well, I mean, they did two different builds, but, you know, go for that early aggression is more what I mean. Or will we see, you know, them throw another curveball at slow play and go for a different style of play here? Just noticing that the layouts of the minerals at the two bases are a little bit different. It's like even at the normal zoom, there's spots where they can hide buildings from the replay viewer, so I can zoom out here. Players getting the scouts on their way to their opponents. Both seeing that. Well, character sees the first factory go down, and slow play sees the first factory going down as well. And it looks like a second factory is going down shortly after that SCV goes. Is able to get picked up, so character looking to go for that early aggression again. I was like, my brain was stuck between wanting to say aggression and aggressive move.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
ESR 916, thank you for the follow. Very much appreciated. Machine shop coming down. Expect to see a second machine shop here for character. There it goes. It's like slow play, waiting to get that hand center down. But this is where the optimizations can help if you're able to do them. If two of these SCVs were taken off of the gas, this command center could come down earlier. But now able to do so with the 400 minerals. Looks like we're going to see the same build from game 2 be done by character, and I agree with that because, you know, you've seen in 2 games that your opponent likes to go for those tanks first and do this sort of tank marine composition. So tanks of your own are going to be needed if you're going to do any sort of aggression. You can't just do pure vulture aggression and hope that you can get those good mines off. We see siege mode and vulture speed coming up here. I'm wondering how the contain is going to look from character, because this is a bit more of an open natural to get to than Ascension. But there is this high ground here that can be used by slow play. It looks like they are positioning some tanks up there, so... Moving into position here, siege mode is done. Some splash damage being done here. Tank is pretty hurt though. With the vultures being pulled in here by those tanks and actually now running in. There are no mines though, so kind of force those workers to retreat, but they didn't even really need to. Slow play able to deal with that contain attempt there by character pretty well. Another vulture coming up here, but really that was a bit of a miss attack there by character. Character will be able to expand behind this, but could have easily set up a contain instead of trying to push into the opponent and just kept them on those two bases and then expand behind it and just sort of work your way into taking over the map and not letting your opponent get out. That's where I was talking about that option 3 of trying to be aggressive to end the game early is usually not a good idea in TBT. It's usually not going to work out for you. Now slow placed, able to get their tanks in position. They're not really moving out though, so like character is just being able to re-establish this position slowly. Slow play this time is using an engineering bay, floating it out there. So gonna have a spotter for them in this game, which I don't think they did in the other two games. It's very cool to see Charon boosters being researched here. So it looks like we're going to see some early Goliaths out of character, perhaps in response to seeing that Wraith play was a possibility from game 1. Or sorry, game 2. Character is slowly sort of just building this arc along this path here to make it really hard for slow play to push out. And this Goliath is blocking the ramp. It's like, no, nothing shall leave this space. Oh, it's still locked onto the Goliath there. Actually, I never really zoomed in on Goliaths before, so like I now notice like the little cockpit there that I never really noticed much before. It looks like slow play is trying to move out here, but these Marines testing the range of the tanks of character. Being able to fire on this barracks, though, gonna force it to pull back. Or... okay. And it is being pulled back now. Those Marines on hold position, so that way they don't go running off after it. But more units now coming in for character. This is going to be hard for slow play to push out. Character continuing with the Goliath production. Actually, I'm not sure how much damage Goliaths do to Marines, if it is the full 12 or just 6. We're getting a very nice tank set up here. Going ahead and checking the third base, it looks like, to make sure that there is nothing there. Which is always something you want to do. Once you get that contain set up, you want to make sure that there isn't anything outside of your contain that could cause some problems. You can also just park the Goliath there in case any dropships try to sneak out that way. We do see a starport coming down, but slow play knows there are Goliath outs, so I hope we don't see an attempt for some Wraiths right now. I mean, Wraiths with Cloak could potentially still do something. I don't think character has ever got a comsat in any of these games. Now throwing down some turrets. The turrets will provide some detection, but those turrets are pretty close. But it will be a while before we see any Cloak, if that is going to be the play. We have the science facility coming down here. For those upgrades, the Marines are at 1 armor. Not going to be able to get the upgrade, though, while the engineering bay is floated. They did get vehicle attack 1. It's like, actually, wait. Is that bugged? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's characters vehicle attack 1 upgrade. I'm like, wait, how are they getting upgrade 2? When I was so confused there. But yeah, okay, so character is getting their +1 in this game. So I don't think they upgraded in the last 2 games. So that's great to see. We do have a pretty strong bioforce here for slow play, but the tanks are very nicely positioned here, even getting some over here to try and make sure that nothing can sneak out this way. There is, oh, nice, getting the turret here. Could still maybe sneak out, but it would probably be seen and get at least a few volleys from the turret there. Would be good to float a building over here too to get that vision of the airspace over here. Both players just kind of continuing to build their forces up. Slow play adding on some more factories. Character continuing to reinforce this contain. And there's really not much back home. Like, dropship play would be a really good move to see from slow play. And we do see the dropships coming out. So if they do this right, there are some avenues where they can maybe escape. Not really, actually. You see, that's one of the challenges with Eclipse is it's like hard, or it's a bit easier to sort of at least get the vision. Now, there'd be plenty of reaction time, but you could, I think you could escape out down this side, but you're going to be seen, right? You're going to take a little bit of damage, but you would be able to sort of squeak out there. So we'll see what character or what slow play can do. And it looks like this lane here has been closed off. This is closed off here. So character doing a very good job here of getting that contain on slow play. And oh no, it looks like he's just blindly going out to the left. This is going to get caught. Yeah, and unfortunately just flies straight into the turrets and is not able to do anything. Now we'll see what slow play's reaction is seeing that get caught. Wait. Oh, there actually was a dropship. Sneaky little dropship got out here and did a drop here, but it wasn't able to do a whole lot of damage. And I suspect it took that route. Yeah, so now I see that there's vision here. I didn't catch that on the minimap. And there was enough time for character to react. Now we do have slow play with the drops failing, attempting to push out here. As chat is mentioning there, need to pull the SCVs for this, and with no SCVs to take the tank shots and sort of just run up on the tanks, slow play's not really able to do a whole lot through this and is going to call the GG. I think they could have, if they pulled SCVs, they maybe could have broke this, but this was a really well set up contained by character, and with that they will take the series 2-1, giving Pacific Fire their first win in this, going 1-1 in this matchup. And so up next we will have Morek against SC2 Airs, which will be a ZVP. So no Terran in this series. There was a 5th series that was played. I don't know the result of it. The thing is, there are no replays from either team, so just a heads up there, please get your replays uploaded so we can go ahead and cast them and everything. But I'm going to step away for a quick moment. I need to refresh my drink, use the restroom real quick. So if you need to take a quick intermission yourself, now would be the time. Grab yourself some snacks or something, as we do have Thunder Dragon and Zesky, which will be a TVT coming up as well, so it could be a long cast. I will be right back.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
All right, I am back. Got myself some strawberry watermelon flavored water. Should last for the rest of the cast, so let's go ahead and get the next series loaded up here, which will be, again, Morik versus SC2 Airs. Hey, T-Cannon, we just took a real quick break there. Had to refresh my drink, use the restroom, and we will get this game one loaded up here, which is, again, on Polypoid. And so we have SC2 Airs spawning as the blue Protoss down in the bottom left. I know my top versus bottom. I know one is above and one is below. And in the top left, we have Morik spawning as the red Zerg. And I have not got top and bottom on the first announcement of Polypoid yet this cast. I will get it right on try one, hopefully the next series. Yes, we actually have no Terrans involved in this matchup, so a nice little refreshing change of pace here. And PvZ can be, I think, one of the trickier matchups at the lower levels for Protoss, because, you know, that Sim City, if you're going to go for like any sort of fast expand play, that Sim City that you get is so important to, you know, stopping the Zerglings from rushing into your base, from being able to run by, you know, from being able to try and keep Hydralisks from busting. So like it can be really tricky if you don't get that right. And looks like SC2 Airs is going to go ahead for that fast expansion style of play with that pylon that they placed. And they're going to go ahead and go with the pylon scout here. Looks like they're going to go cross positions. which will not get them that first scout. And that pylon is just finishing up here, so we'll see what the next building SC2 Airs wants to throw down. Meanwhile, we've got the gas and pool here coming down. So I think this was... We don't have an overlord yet, so I guess this was a 9 pool into gas. So I'm thinking that we will see some speedlings come out here. Now, as the probe is going down to the bottom right, SC2 Airs will be getting the final scout. And it looks like SC2 Airs is going for Forge first, going ahead and placing down a cannon here. Has not found the Zerg, so we'll need to get those defenses early, but I'm a little bit worried if this is indeed going to be a speed build here, but there's only the one drone on gas, so speed will be a little bit. Morik still doesn't know where SC2's Airs is. They are going straight for their base, so they're going to have to make a quick decision on if they want to run by that one cannon there or not. I think it would be a smart decision for them to do so, but we'll see what they decide here. They are going to find SC2 Airs. They're going to find just the one cannon. And actually, they're going to go ahead and just straight up attack the cannon, but with that approach, there really wasn't a good way to do so. If they were going to engage that, it would have been great to see them sort of pull back, wrap around, and come at the cannon. Would have got a lot better coverage to do damage to it. But now they don't really have the Zerglings to really threaten and run by. Going ahead, getting their lair, though, getting their natural now. SC2 Airs has found them, so... Actually, getting that natural gas very, very quickly before the hatchery is even done. And now going ahead and getting... Actually, the probe seeing this and going ahead and tickling the extractor here. A little silly in this Zergling being recalled back from the front to go ahead and deal with that probe. Meanwhile, it looks like SC2 Airs. The Nexus is about to come online, so should be looking good here pretty soon. The probe now tickling this egg will be tickled by the Zergling until it explodes to a nice blue mist. SC2 Airs going ahead getting their first Zealot now, going ahead and getting the Cyber Core at the natural. As both of their pylons actually were at the natural, their third pylon just now going down in the main. No transfer of workers, though, from the main to the natural, so this natural going to be a bit slow to really pay off. Usually, once you get your natural set up, you're going to want to transfer units or workers from the main into it, so a little unfortunate to see that. Now, second cannon coming down here. Just kind of watching for what Morik is going to do here, actually droning up a bit now. So not feeling any risk from Airs just yet. Mark getting some nice coverage. Does have burrow too, so gonna be able to keep tabs on the Protoss if they don't get observers. Now I'm just looking at units like that. Hydralisk then looks interesting. Never really looked closely at the Hydralisk then before. Simulator coming down at the natural. This Dragoon able to get out on the map. Didn't activate these Zerglings, so Morik knows that that is out. And throwing down a couple of creep colonies here. First Corsair is on the way. There is no evolution chamber, so won't be able to get spore colonies right away. Lurker aspect is on the way, though. Or actually, no, lurker aspect is done. That's a lurker. that is on the way. So no anti-air at the moment for Morik, but all it takes is just, you know, an SH basically to get that anti-air. But we'll have to deal with the Corsair firing at your overlords for a little bit before those hatch. Here we have the Corsair beelining it for the Protoss, or for the Zerg base rather. No, there actually was a second one here, but just waiting to go in. Now these two Corsairs are going to come in actually just as a fresh batch of Hydralisk morph, so gonna get one, almost one more, like two more shots from these Corsair would have done that Overlord, and so not quite getting the kill there. Actually, that Lurker being used pretty defensively here. SimCity for the Zerg starting up, but Zerg still just on 2 bases. Upgrades on the way for heirs. Just going ahead, taking that third mineral only. Going to be ahead of the Zerg in base count, which Zerg is not going to want. So we'll see what Zerg tries to do in response to that, if they'll expand on their own or not. They have some vision out here. They don't quite have vision on the high ground though, so they might not know that that base is going down, but they could have potentially seen the probe going across. A few cannons being thrown down now as the small detachment of Hydralisks are trying to come down here to this choke point, but I don't think those Hydralisks are really going to be able to do much. And Morkir sees the probe transfer, but will they respond to it? They're still just sitting on the 2 bases here. Looks like they're throwing down a Queen's Nest and Spire and just 3 hatcheries too, so Corsair's now coming in to check on this third, see if there's anything here, and they see that it's empty. One of the burrowed Zerglings getting picked off by the cannons there. The Robo is now started for air, so needs to be careful though, because without detection, these Lurkers can really do some work. There's no storm as well. There's being forced to pull back that army. Now the army's just gotta run past the Lurkers. They said, alright, your army is there, your Lurkers are there, I don't care, I've got cannons. I'm gonna go say hi to your natural. I like this move by heirs. But now the question is, will these Zealots be able to do any work? This is a pretty nice space here. Gonna be tough for those Zealots to really get in there, but it looks like they are getting in there on top of the Sunken, doing some damage. Nothing being pulled to protect the Sunkens. I think Zerg will survive this particular attack, but these Lurkers still getting some shots off on the Zealots, but not really getting any kills. No. Getting some drone kills too. Able to clean it up, but now with no Hydralisks, the Corsairs are going to pounce on these Overlords, cause a supply block. The drones at the natural still just sitting idle, but I think maybe lost a Corsair, but did supply block Morik pretty bad there. Now we can see 3 Overlords start up in that production queue. So very nicely done there by heirs to get in there, do some damage with the ground army. And now we have more Zealots that just bypassed the Lurkers. Like this, heirs is like, I don't need detection. My Zealots can just run past your Lurkers and just fight. Yeah, Overlords finishing up, but there's no anti-air in the main, so these 3 fresh Overlords Not even going to see like a couple minutes of life just instantly getting picked off by the Corsairs. Now trying to get these overlords above the spore colonies here. Meanwhile, Ayers is expanding to this bottom left down by this overlord that's in that right corner. And I don't think Morik sees that, so... And Morik's out. It looks like there is an observer now, so those lurkers were able to be cleaned up, and Ayers just continuing to keep the pressure on, and this lurker has been doing its best to keep this natural alive. These Hydralisks being forced to sort of... Or I thought they were going to come down to the natural to help, but it looks like they're not quite there. Might not be able to take this natural just yet. Or now with the observer coming in, this natural should fall. Oh, but no, the observer went too far forward. And got sniped there by the spore colony. The fourth now just finishing up here for Ayers, but yeah, this natural is now falling. There's just way too many zealots here in the natural. And with that, Morik will leave the game. And this wasn't TVB, so I assume that Morik gave the GG, but gave it in Allies chat, which is your default chat in that game mode. So well played there by Ayers. I loved running by the lurkers. Just, I'm not even dealing with them right now. I'm just going to your natural, and my zealots are going to have a fun time there. And so game 2 has us on Ascension with Morik spawning as the red Zerg in the 7 o'clock position, or 8 o'clock position, 7 or 8, something like that, like 7:30 maybe. And Ayers spawning at like the 4 o'clock position here as the blue Protoss. So last game we saw Morik go for the lurkers and tried to get something done with them, but Ayers just said, "What lurkers? Why is the ground tickling my zealot's feet? Oh, hi, Zerg Natural. I'm going to bust you." We'll see how game 2 plays out between these two. Looks like Ayers will be going for yeah, we'll be going for that fast expand style as this probe bounces back. Feels like the pylon is a bit late, going to be a little bit supply blocked, but and scouting up to the 12 o'clock base, so we'll get the last scout, which is not as bad on a 3-player map. Going Gateway first this time instead of Forge first, perhaps based on what they've seen from their opponent, but their opponent doing the same sort of build here, getting their pool and or their 9 pool and gas. This Overlord will eventually make its way over to the natural of Ayers. Probe coming down here now from the 12 o'clock. Gonna find Morik's base. See that there is no natural being taken. And that it is that early pool again. sees the pull, immediately pulls the probe back. Trying to see if they can sneak something with that probe, but gonna get caught by Morik. And the probe is now blue stardust. Overlord does see Ayers' Forcer, and actually it's 2 gates, so Ayers not going for that fast expansion, but instead looks like they're going to be going for just early aggression. Which is probably why they were trying to keep that probe alive, because normally you'd want that probe alive with your initial Zealot push, just for that little bit of extra DPS before any upgrades can be made. But Mark, recognizing what's happening here, trying to take their natural, is pulling back, forced to make some more Zerglings. And trying to see if they can maybe hold off on that choke, but deciding to pull back here. Trying to gather some more forces, but these Zealots here marching in, they just need to get some good shots here on these Zerglings. Some good micro by Ayers going on here. And it looks like both of the Zealots will live, this one just barely, so gonna probably fall next engagement, especially if it's the first one. It's at 5 life. It does get picked off there by Morik, but there's still now 2 Zealots in your natural. You've only got 1 Zergling left, more on the way, but these 2 Zealots can deal some damage in the meantime, and now a probe does join them. And there's more Zealots on the way, so Ayers really committing to this early aggression here. If they can stop this natural, it might be game. Now the Zealot's free to tear into this hatchery. Actually, Ayers deciding to come up into the main, as there was a creep colony that could have been spawned into a spore colony, or sunken colony rather, but with that, Morik will tap out and give the GG for a very quick game 2. Ayers taking it 2-0, which puts Pacific Fire up in the tier 3, 2-1. Again, there is a 5th game in this series, but the replays were not submitted, and I don't know what the result of that 5th game was, so I think I can check that out, though, after this, so that way I can avoid spoilers. For our next series, which is going to be Thunder Dragon against Zeski, will be a Terran versus Terran. Let's get that one rolling. All right, we have Zeski. So actually, it looks like they... Hold on one second. They may have played out of order. Well, let me double check the replays to make sure that may be what happened. This does say 1. Game 1. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't load up the wrong one. Okay. So getting into game 1, they played on Ascension first instead of Polypoid. We have Zeski spawning as the blue Terran over in the 7 o'clock position, and Thunder Dragon spawning as the red Terran over at about the 5 o'clock position or so. 4:30, something like that. So our second TVT of the day. We saw in that one a player that liked to sort of play a little bit slower. Perhaps their name Slow Play comes from that. And the other player was wanting to be more aggressive. So now, you know, what play styles will we see from these two players will be a lot of fun, I think, to find out. And I'm looking now, like, I'm just noticing all kinds of stuff today. Like, the Q graphic here, like, there's a line at the bottom connecting 2, 3, 4, and 5. No line connecting 1 to 2. Why is that? Either way, it looks like we've got Supply Depot coming down, so nobody going for like a BBS or anything like that. Hey, character. Yep, we're on the last series for today. Your games we played earlier, there was the second series, so we did get your replays. I don't know if they were from your submission character or slow play submitting them, but there was a fifth series. Yeah, your games did get casted already. There was a fifth series, though, that we don't have the replays for. Where it wasn't uploaded by either player from either team. So I'm going to look up what the results for that were after this series concludes. Yeah, you were the second series in this. So if you want to catch that cast, if you want to, after we conclude here and it's a VOD, you can go ahead and check that out. Now, we do have Thunder Dragon going out for the scout here. We have in-base barracks by both of the players here. So, no shenanigans going on with at least like early marine aggression. It looks like Zeski will get the scout off on Thunder Dragon first. Thunder Dragon going ahead and sending that SCV over to the proper base. And actually, wait, this SCV see that marine? Or, okay, now it's going in there. We'll see, okay, the factory. We'll see the one SCV on gas. So most likely going to be an expansion centered play, actually from both players, as both of them have just one worker in the gas right now. It looks like the factory for Thunder Dragon just a little bit faster than Zeski's. That Marine going very far chasing that SCV, but going ahead and being pulled back now. And actually both players able to get their SCVs out. Not losing the scout. Zeski's actually up on workers though. But the command center for Thunder Dragon is being thrown down a little bit faster. Zeski also getting their first vulture prior to throwing down the command center, so I think that's in response to seeing that basically Thunder Dragon saw, okay, so Zeski, you've got one person in gas, you're going for, an expansion, so I can cut a few corners and get my expansion up a little bit faster too. Both players here floating the barracks across, so I think we're going to see a little bit more of a standard TVT between these two than we did in the last TVT. Second factory coming down later for Thunder Dragon than it did for Zeski. And the nice worker transfer there as that command center finishes up. Vulture speed on the way for Thunder Dragon. No upgrades coming out of the machine shop for Zeski just yet. And I think the barracks actually sees that. Poked in there, didn't see the machine shop spinning. And then we'll come down here, bump into the bunker, then just kind of quietly return back into the main. An armory is down though, so a Goliath about to pop out. For Zeski, actually 2 Goliaths will be able to take out this barracks. I don't think it's going to be able to get away in time. So Thunder Dragon trying to get just as much scouting information with that as they can. They're already getting their third factory, so losing the barracks at this juncture, not the biggest of deals really for Thunder Dragon. You've got your 3 factories established. You're going to be okay. Not really going to be able to do a lot with these vultures, though. I mean, you can kind of keep an eye, maybe, on the lanes, but I don't think Thunder Dragon, did they? Yeah, they don't have mines yet, so I would have liked to have seen this move out if they had mines, but are they going to try and run by, or? Looks like they thought about trying to do a run by, but they saw that that bunker was there and that those vultures are there too. And they knew that there's 4 Goliaths from their barracks getting shot down. So I don't know why exactly they were trying to do that poke in there. Now the barracks for Zeski is kind of floating back into the main from below to try and get that more scouting information. Zeski now getting up to the 3rd factory. And still, like, Thunder Dragon trying to poke in there and see what's there. Losing a few more vultures. Oh, and we have a drop ship. I like this. So Zeski going in with a dropship here. We'll see if it gets spotted by vultures coming across the map. It's gonna be close, but I think... yeah, it does just barely get seen, but did Thunder Dragon actually see that or not? It's gonna be a tough question. It looks like they don't. They did not catch that little blip of a dropship, so this dropship's gonna come into the main. A round of vultures just finished. It's really not going to be much to stop this here. This tank can maybe do something, but mines are just now being researched. So leaving 2 Goliaths there. And then going to drop the Goliaths off at the natural. It's causing a bit of a headache here for their opponents, but while they're doing this, they're floating a lot of resources, so... they are causing a headache for their opponent here, but letting their macro slip perhaps a bit here while doing so. It's just this dance back and forth. There's no anti-air. There is an armory, so could... actually, Thunder Dragon's macro is also slipping here. Could get a Goliath or 2 to really, like, stop this dropship play, but... and I like this, the targeting of the workers, down to 21 workers right now. And you gotta pull out with the 2 heavily damaged Goliaths before anything else can happen. And this front, these vultures are not getting in there. Mines have been researched, so mines could be laid out. And now we actually have a Wraith. But there will be a few Goliaths out for Thunder Dragon pretty soon here. There's the control tower. Has Cloak been researched? Wraith has taken a few shots. Looks like Cloak has not been researched, so... this Wraith not going to be able to do too much. Gonna get shut down kind of quick here by this Goliath, but a good attempt there by Zeski. Zeski resuming that SCV production during that Goliath harass there. I think that the work production kind of fell off, and oh, those mines doing some work, but really needs to lay back some more, fall back a bit more, lay some more mines. Try and make those Goliaths have to walk through them, and yeah, there's 2 very heavily damaged Goliaths now. I actually could pick those off with vultures if the life of them is noticed. So Zeski gonna go ahead and move out and take their 3rd here. Having to replace the barracks in order to get some more factories. Looks like they're wanting to throw down their 2nd machine shop here. I think they want to throw down some additional factories as well, but can't because of the lack of a barracks. And oh no, if they would just target... ooh, a nice little mine shot going off there, but there's a nice army here moving up ahead. Oh, and those mines... doing some work, but a lot of the mines kind of diffusing themselves. This army still looking pretty threatening here from Zeski. And taking this high ground here, which will protect the 3rd. There is the run-by route, but... you know, to be honest, I haven't really seen much of anybody take this path in a CPL game. Thunder Dragon kind of setting up here, trying to stop this advance. Has a couple tanks of their own. Zeski going ahead and getting, I think that's a +2 upgrade now. And Thunder Dragon does have +1, but no science facility just yet. Going ahead and getting their starport just now. Zeski loading up a few units, maybe And just flying past the tank there. Again, there isn't much in the main. There is a Goliath, though. And these are damaged units that are being dropped off. So, with that, Thunder Dragon trying to push up to this high ground here. Does take one tank out, but not really going to be able to make much happen there. Trying to chase down this dropship, but not getting the Goliath to actually fire onto the dropship. Tank taking a little bit of damage, but going to be able to be cleaned up and keep that tank alive. There's like one random mine here. Zeski now up to 5 factories here producing. Looks like a few of the rally points not quite set. But meanwhile, Thunder Dragon is on 4. The worker count is a lot lower for Thunder Dragon. Also, only 1 worker mining the gas currently. And there we go. We get that correction and that turret being finished. But there's only 2 workers on gas actually in the main, which could be hurting Thunder Dragon's gas collection a bit there if that continues to go unnoticed. Additional forces coming out for Zeski here. Got Charon boosters and mines being researched. And now we've got the Wraith being used to apply some pressure here. Actually, this army of Zeski looks to be moving to bypass the entrenched position of Thunder Dragon. Could get into a position here to sort of cut off reinforcements. It looks to be moving all the way up here. This third was being attempted to be taken by Thunder Dragon, but is wide open to an approach from this angle, and it looks like the approach will happen. Zeski should be able to deny this, trying to get positioned a bit to stop reinforcements from being able to come up here and contest it. And Thunder Dragon does indeed cancel that command center. Dropship getting some scouting info, but getting picked off by the Goliaths. And now Zeski trying to position a couple of tanks here to cut off the reinforcements. So this little detachment here is now cut off from Thunder Dragon's base. Thunder Dragon's gonna need to do something soon here in order to stop this contain from spiraling out of control. Really, and a scan going down from Zeski to get that vision to get some shots fired off. Zeski pushing the issue from the northeast. Actually, I think this tank, yeah, that tank can fire on that turret there. Yeah, Zeski trying to keep this hold on Thunder Dragon here. Zeski's third is established as well, but the worker count actually is pretty close at this point now, 50 to 48. Thunder Dragon starting to float a lot of money now as well, and okay, did get a third worker on the gas in the main, so that was noted and corrected. Has an idle worker at the SCV or at the command center here in a few, and some scans going down. I think Zeski sees the dropships here and knows that dropship play might be happening, so needs to keep an eye out for where those dropships may try to go. Looks like Zeski's gonna try and close this little gap here. Should be able to do so. They're up 2-0 to 1-0. And yeah, just going with the A move here. Gonna be able to clean this up. It can actually start to officially get this contain here and get some turrets thrown down to really keep this dropship play from coming into effect here against Zeski. Looks like the engineering bay just now being thrown down. Didn't have one previous, so gonna have to wait for that to finish. And so I think that type of like turret ring contain is going to be the plan here for Zeski. Also going and getting their fourth base started up here. Worker production resuming for Zeski as well, it looks like. Wraith putting some pressure on the tanks of Thunder Dragon. Thunder Dragon doesn't have any mobile anti-air, so trying to throw down a missile turret now. But that turret is kind of far forward. Yeah, and the tank just able to get some shots off on it. Or maybe it was just because that SCV just happened to wander over to the left. And I like when buildings are slightly damaged and they finish and they're not on fire. Just no visual fire because they finish, so they look brand new. We have Zeski moving some units around the map a little bit, trying to get this here, and with the scan, sees these dropships. They need to just like drop and deal with this, but it's... Oh, not too many tanks. Yeah, this force is going to get caught here. Needs to pull these dropships back, but doesn't. They end up getting picked off, and with that, Thunder Dragon will give the GG to Zeski, which is going to bring us into game 2 here, putting Zeski up 1-0. Zeski trying to make it 3-1 for their team. And we'll see what map they actually played on for game 2 here. And game 2 will have us on Polypoid. So they just played the first 2 maps out of order. Not the biggest deal. We have Zeski spawning as the blue Terran in the top right of Polypoid, or Polypoid, and we have Thunder Dragon spawning as the red Terran down in the bottom left. And I got my up and down, tops, bottoms, left, rights. I got it all correct this time, so managed to do it by the last series of today. So yeah, Zeski saying this is good. Probably in relation to if they played the map slightly out of order, which is fine. So both players in that first game there seemed to like to go for the, or went for that sort of one factory fast expansion style. Let's see if they do the same in this game. Or if they decide to do anything else, mix it up, given that we're on a 4-player map instead of a 3-player map. And we have that in-base barracks. The Dragon's barracks have been a little bit late, probably because that worker was caught up in the worker line. But going ahead and throwing the barracks down as well. So in-base barracks from both players. So again, no early marine aggression shenanigans going to happen this game. Gas coming down for both players. And Scout coming out. So far, both players pretty much doing the same thing. Looks like they're even both scouting to the same base. But I don't quite yeah, now they see each other. And Zeski noticing that, going ahead and redirecting the SCV, seeing where that Thunder Dragon SCV was coming from, figures, okay, you must not be up at the top left, so I'm going to just beeline it now down to the bottom left. Thunder Dragon perhaps not seeing the SCV from Zeski, goes up into the main, sees it's empty, but should, unless they do a cross scout from there, find Zeski up in the top right. Going ahead, getting that scout in, sees the in-base barracks, sees the factory, sees the one worker on gas.
Hello, my friend.
So probably
Stay
figuring this is going
listen.
to be, you know, that fast expansion style that we saw in the last game. Thunder Dragon not quite being able to get up there, but I think they did see the barracks floating out. So they have to figure that this is probably going to be a similar thing. And we do see now the SCV coming down, establishing that command center for Zeski. Actually, a little right about the same time, I'd say, as Thunder Dragon did. Thunder Dragon going ahead and sending their barracks out across the map a little bit here. Zeski's is on the way. The first Vulture is out and going to go ahead and check out what Thunder Dragon is up to, but needs to be careful that they don't lose this first Vulture. There are 2 Vultures out for Thunder Dragon, so the armies are so close to each other. Thunder Dragon sees it. Zeski sees it. Doing some donuts out in the parking lot. A little close, maybe trying to pick off that Marine, but not quite able to. He's going to go ahead and go home. Where is it? There we go. Yeah, he's like, I did some donuts. Time to just get home and meet up with the rest of the army here at the natural choke. We have the worker transfer happening for both players. But Zeski has been more on the worker production than Thunder Dragon, up 27 to 23. Thunder Dragon on 3 factories just about already. So the factories came down a little faster for Thunder Dragon, but I wonder if this is just a result of like Zeski just keeping up on that worker production more than Thunder Dragon did. We can see how it's already a 4 worker gap between the 2. Barracks getting in, checking on that factory count, seeing that it's 3 factories, 1 machine shop. Going ahead and getting mines here. The Marine's going to push this barracks back a bit, but the barracks does see the vulture count. And it's actually like 2 vultures larger than Zeski's army here, so... Zeski, though, continuing to try and pump out those vultures, get those numbers up. We might have ourselves a bit of vulture wars here. It looks like speed is researched for Thunder Dragon. Mines are on the way now. I saw Zeski, I believe, got mines. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, Zeski did get speed as well. So now then, depending on how this engage goes, Thunder Dragon has more. But there are a couple of Marines that are going to be helping out here. And Zeski will have the defender's advantage. And yeah, with that Thunder Dragon... Oh no! Thunder Dragon with that target firing of the stronger vulture actually gave that to Zeski there. Reinforcements coming in though. There are 2 vultures that are like a hit or 2 away, and now okay, now there's one that's just like a hit or 2 away. Thunder Dragon really could have, I think, pulled that a little bit more in their favor if they did not do that target firing, which something my coach has been telling me is that really, I think it was my coach who was telling me, and like vulture on vulture, you really don't need to do that target fire. Just if you have more vultures, you will win the fight. And now some mines being laid down here by Thunder Dragon. It's like Thunder Dragon doesn't really want to press the issue, but would like to kind of get it contained with mines, which will be fine. But if vultures is all your opponent is producing, not going to be able to, or you know, the mines aren't going to go off to them. And it looks like Thunder Dragon is transitioning into tanks, and so is Zeski. So Thunder Dragon's going to try and get the contain set up here. With siege mode for Zeski. Zeski's gonna try and keep this contained back a little bit, but there's a barracks there to kind of keep eye on things. Zeski could probably pop out like a single Goliath to push that barracks back, but it looks like they're not too concerned about it right now. They are getting their +1. Is there an armory for Thunder Dragon? Not yet. They are getting their academy though, so they can go ahead and get some comsats. But they just queued up a nice round of workers here, so not going to be able to start that comsat just yet unless they cancel it. Zeski, meanwhile, is going ahead and getting their comsats so they can clear out these mines. There is a tank out here for Thunder Dragon, but Zeski's looking to press this issue before Thunder Dragon can get this more established. There is another tank on the way, though. We do have some scans going down for Thunder Dragon. No, wait, actually, I don't know who did those scans. Oh, they were, I think, Zeski trying to clear out these mines here. Zeski moving forward with these vultures here. Yeah, the vultures are going to evaporate here for Zeski, but Thunder Dragon needed to pull back those vultures, I think, a little bit sooner. Now there are some Goliaths, and now pulling the SCVs here. Zeski, I think, should be able to bust this, as there aren't any more forces here for... Ooh, those mines, gotta think a couple of worker kills, but... Yeah, Zeski will break out of the contain here. It's a very nice play there by Zeski. This tank a little bit late to the party. He's like, hey guys, what's up? But it will siege up. Ooh, those... Oh, but very nicely positioned Goliaths there. Those two tanks couldn't do anything about it, but more reinforcements do arrive, so... Zeski was able to break that, but may not be able to push through these reinforcements. Really depends on how this engage goes. Will get an advantage, though, in that their tanks are already sieged while Thunder Dragons are unsieged, getting the mines on top of the army. Oh! And while one of the tanks remains, that was some very nice mines. They're taking about like 3 units and a tank out. Or 3 units, one of which was a tank. A Thunder Dragon really... Oh no, with the move order that they don't fire on the mine. Using one of the tanks needlessly. And now sieging up on the low ground. Zeski getting the advantage here, being up on the high ground. Thunder Dragon trying to lay some mines, but... You know, not getting those mines on top of Zeski's army. The other thing is, too, that Thunder Dragon... While they had that contain, they did not expand behind it, so really, once Zeski breaks out of the contain, it's sort of like, you know, even-ish game. Zeski maybe a little bit more ahead, depending on what they have left after that break. And now Thunder Dragon, trying to get on top of the tanks and lay down some mines, does get one nice mine off, but the tanks not quite able to see each other, not quite getting that last firing off there. And there are 5 vultures here that have kind of skirted around the forces here in an attempt to lay a mine there. And now these are going to get here, but quick reaction by Thunder Dragon, sieging the tanks here, blocking that ramp, stopping the vultures from getting up there. A few SCVs getting picked off, though, I think, by the splash from the tanks, but Thunder Dragon doing a good job of dealing with that vulture run by. Oh, I guess it's not a run by, but like the circumvention of the army of Thunder Dragon here. But the army here at the front for Thunder Dragon looking a little bit disjointed here. Looks like we're just adding more factories here for Zeski. Zeski feeling like they just need to get that muscle to really break this, or break out of this. They do have a starport, and it looks like they are going ahead and getting a factory, or sorry, not a factory, a dropship. So maybe looking to try and do some dropship play here on Thunder Dragon like they did in game 1 with his Goliaths. Trying to get these tanks up onto the high ground to fight on even ground. I think that yeah, that might be high ground. It's kind of hard to tell where exactly that transition is between high ground and low ground on like a wide surface like that. Oh, that mine for Thunder Dragon doing some heavy damage there. That Mech Army just stopped, like, really? It looks like there's another Vulture bypass here happening, but does get spotted by Thunder Dragon. Thunder Dragon moving a few tanks down to try and catch these Vultures and deal with it. Thunder Dragon needs to get some units here as well to sort of just keep Zeski in this lanes here. Zeski looks like was maybe going to try and move along this way, but Zeski doing a good job here, getting themselves some space. Thunder Dragon trying to keep this contain up, but Zeski is like slowly just gaining inch by inch here. There is the dropship that's been made, but it hasn't gone out just yet. And Zeski might be able to actually get their third going here. It is vulnerable to this path, but Thunder Dragon might not realize that that's being taken. Got some repairs at the front happening here for Zeski. Zeski's very, very low on gas, having been stuck on these two bases. It's like the dropship now being moved here. We've got another dropship, I think, on... Yeah, another dropship. Another one being queued, so Zeski's going to look to try and get some dropships. And a nice scan there by Zeski, given vision, being able to pick off one of the tanks. Thunder Dragon trying to just spread out, but moving one of the tanks again a little bit too close. Zeski coming in here now with Vultures. Gonna clean up the tanks that are here. Meanwhile, Thunder Dragon back home is starting to get some dropships of their own. But I think their macro might have dropped off a little bit here. Now trying to reinforce this lane again with some tanks. It does need to give a little bit of breathing room here. Like, don't try to position in those same spots again, but if you position back a bit, that would be good to see from Thunder Dragon. But the thing that we're not seeing from Thunder Dragon with this contain, though, is there's this wide open space for air, wide open space for air. So dropships, you know, Wraith play, anything could really come out from Thunder Dragon, and I don't know if they've really seen that air as a possibility. We have some scans coming down, but they're from Zeski checking on the army of Thunder Dragon, so this could be an issue. And actually just now, the natural comsat, there's the comsat in the main at 200 energy, so like these dropships could easily be caught by Thunder Dragon, that they're going to happen. There aren't even any Goliaths in the army, actually, for Thunder Dragon, which could be a big mistake here. Oh, and not even trying to go to the base of Thunder Dragon, just trying to drop on top of these tanks, or at least threaten. Oh, no, you don't want to lay mines like that. Just going to go ahead and retreat. Oh man, if like a single Goliath had dropped and got those mines to go off, it would have been bye-bye tanks for Thunder Dragon. And now with this forcing the issue, okay, there are a couple of Goliaths here now, but being able to drop here, now these mines are going to do some work, but yeah, Zeski breaking out this way and charging forward while keeping enough forces here that this can't necessarily move through that easily. And now Zeski is marching straight for the natural of Thunder Dragon. Thunder Dragon's going to have to pull back from this contain if they want to defend this, I think. I mean, they might be able to. They've got a macro round popping out here. Tanks are slow to move across, but this is going to be a really tight engagement. It really depends on how Zeski takes it. Zeski just pushing the issue, moving in there. Thunder Dragon needs to take this high ground, but there's just so many tanks. There's just so many tanks from Zeski here. They're not... Now they're pulling this back, but I think it might be a little too late. A lot of damage is going to be done here. The worker count is falling. Zeski getting up on top of these factories here. But the tanks are actually targeting the turrets. But yeah, now you can't get that high ground advantage against these low ground tanks. And actually now the Zeski's tanks are going to have the high ground advantage against Thunder Dragon. One factory has fallen here. And actually the worker damage wasn't so bad since Zeski sort of focused on getting up into this high ground. But now with that contain being pulled back, Zeski with some fresh macro and actually all the units that were just chilling here is now able to move forward. And does Zeski does know about this third, I think. So I think they may be moving into position to be able to kill that. So they are floating a command center down to take their 4th base as well. And starting up a 5th base here at the mineral only. So Zeski, man, once they broke out of that contain, it's like popping a cork off of like a champagne bottle, and now you've just got all the champagne flowing everywhere. You just got Zeski pouring out onto the map with their units. Thunder Dragon trying to get this game back under control, but it is spiraling very quickly for them here. Maybe a bit of a misclick here. Zeski's army kind of chilling at this temple, but Zeski's army now moving into position here. Oh, that mine taking out those tanks. Pretty nice there for Thunder Dragon, but now there's nothing to deal with these Goliaths and can't quite get any units up there. These tanks protecting this pathway. All the workers gone. We're now at this 31 to 63 worker deficit. The workers weren't able to evacuate because of the attack path there from Zeski. And I think this game has quickly turned into Zeski's favor, for Zeski's favor, once they were able to break this contain. Got more Goliaths coming in, more tanks. And with that, Thunder Dragon will tap out and give the GG, giving Zeski the series there 2-0. And with that, Pacific Fire, I think, went 3-1, if I'm not mistaken. Let's check real quick how the series that I didn't have a replay for went. Should be able to look that up pretty quickly here. So this was 5 Attitude Pacific Fire. So that was Amy Neo and Auto Remmer, which went 0-2 in Auto Remmer's favor, which would put Pacific Fire up 4-1 in their Tier 3 matchup against Attitude Plus. So very well played by all the players involved in these games, but Pacific Fire getting those points really helped their team out there. So very entertaining set of games here. Some very good action-packed TVTs. Let's see who is on that we can raid, what my plans are for the rest of the day. I'm going to get myself lunch. Groceries are going to be delivered hopefully soon. Oops, actually, it looks like I have some... Okay, actually I have a text, so that'll be like in about a half hour those are supposed to be delivered, a little bit more than that. I'm looking to come back with some Diablo 2 Resurrected Open Beta play later today. If you're interested in that at all, you're always welcome to come back. Go ahead and give that follow. And Al Pacino 919 Lunar was here. Thank you for the follows there while I was casting. And I'm going to check real quick who's doing some StarCraft that we can go ahead and raid. Let's see. StarCraft. Like a lot of Korean streamers are on right now. there's a Russian player here. StarCraft Remastered Zerg B rank with 1 viewer. Let's go ahead and give them the raid today. Ooh. That is a bit loud. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. It has been a blast today. And until next time, take care, everybody.